Doja Cat's new album V is out, and overall, a great album. My grade for this album is going to be, I'm gonna give it an A. I'm gonna give it an A, borderline like A minus, kind of in that realm. So I'm gonna say overall, this album again, it was a cohesive body of work. That's why I'm gonna give it that grade. So basically, this album is about a relationship. It's like the beginning of a relationship where it's like, yo, we flirting, we trying to get to know each other. Boom, now we together. Boom, now we fucking like crazy. Boom, now we got issues in our relationships. Then we got to call it quits. And then, at the end of it, like, damn, I want you back. So like, I think the overall order of each song made sense. I would have changed maybe like one or two, but that's just me kind of being picky. And also, as it relates to this grade, the one thing that I will say that made me deduct points was I wish she had more features on it to kind of break it up a little bit. I wish she had more features. She has says on here, and like I said, I'll get to it, but I wish she had more features because it did kind of have some moments of being repetitive, but she did successfully break it up in certain areas. And I'll get to that when I do the album, when I do the song breakdowns. All right, let's go. So starting with the first song, we got Cards. Great album opener. It's giving me the disco 80s vibe. I kind of can get a feel of what the album is gonna be. We kind of already know this based off of the lead single of the album. So we kind of already know that we're gonna be in this whole disco world. And I think that's what Doja is really good at. She's really good at like creating these worlds when it comes to like her albums. So now we kind of know we're in these 80s disco world. So again, Cards is the first song. She's rapping, she's singing, she's rapping actual bars, and it's like, yo, play your cards right. So overall, great, great, great opener. Then we go into Jealous. Jealous, I think is a good song, quality song. It's a smooth transition from Cards. And overall, I just think it's a good song. I don't really have too many thoughts on Jealous, but again, it's following the story of what I think this album is trying to talk about, basically being in a relationship and all of that. So now you get into like the jealous part of it when you're like in the beginning stages of it. So perfect transition, makes perfect sense. So then we go into the next song, which is Man. We got this little retro beat. We still in that little 80s world, but like at this point, third song in, I'm starting to get a little like, okay, because again, Doja is doing everything on this album. She's singing her own background vocals. She's rapping, and then again, there's not a lot of features. So it's kind of like, Doja kind of has this little small pocket of range of her voice. Now she did play with her voice on a later song. I'm gonna get to that. When she said ugly and fine as shit, I felt that. I felt that. So the next song we have Couples There. Switched up her style of singing at the right moment because again, I needed something to kind of break it up. Coming from the first three songs. So she switched up at the right moment and phenomenal transition. Again, the album still makes sense. I feel like I'm at that stage of the relationship where it's like we need a couple. And then we go into Gorgeous. We all know Gorgeous is retro beat. Like I was trying to figure out the sample of that song. If you know the sample of Gorgeous, can you put it in the comments? Because I can't think of it right now at this moment. I should probably look it up. But yeah, still makes sense. Again, the album, the order makes sense to me. Love this. Now we go into Strangers. Strangers wasn't my favorite song, if I'm being honest. A good song still, again, it all still makes sense. But the thing for Strangers for me was that saxophone. That saxophone was top tier. Whoever was playing that motherfucking saxophone was putting their whole goddamn fucking ass on that motherfucking goddamn windpipe, whatever fuck the tip was literally playing the fuck out of that saxophone. Going to All Mine. All Mine is like, this is where I'm like, this girl is playing with her voice, and this is the range that I want to see from Doja when she's singing. It was giving me like Prince vibes. It was giving me like Beyonce Speechless vibes. It was kind of giving me like Songbird, Solange, Cranes in the Sky type of like the way she was playing with her voice. The thing for me, if she was gonna kind of really play with her voice like that on this song, I wish she would have done it the entire song. This song, personally, I didn't need her to rap. She could have just had this song be a straight ballad, singing the way she was singing, and that would have broken the album up. But I still think she did enough with her voice to break the album up and kind of give us a little bit of like, not listening to the same thing while we're still in this 80s retro world. And it's like the way she played with genres in this song as well. It was kind of like almost like a Motown 80s disco vibe mixed in one. Take Me Dancing, featuring SZA. Very much needed in this place of the album because again, we need something to break it up so it doesn't all sound the same. I think her and SZA sound great together. Great feature. This gives me very much I'm high on shrooms in the club. You know. So following that song, we have Lip Stains. Her, the beat is different. Her rapping in French, sexy as fuck. Talking about they fucking down everywhere at this point in the relationship. They is fucking. And when I think of this song, I think of this meme right here. Top tier song. Silly, fun. Honestly, this is a cool Valley song. I feel like this is like a white girl Valley, you know, with my latte and my, Stanley Cup, top down, type of song. So, it's a cool song. I feel like acts of service and couples therapy could have possibly switched places. But again, it still makes sense for the album because in this song, she's definitely talking about like, yo, I got keys to your flat. Like, what are we? That makes me your girlfriend, right? Like, what are we doing? Like, she's in that questioning stage of the relationship. So, it makes sense. And the next song is Make It Up. And Doja lets the world know that she is a submissive top. So One More Time is the next song. And this is a very commercial song. I can see this being used in like movie trailers. I can see this being used in commercials. It's a very, again, like a Valley Girl, Stanley Cup, like boom, boom, boom type of disco 80s song. Actually, one of my favorite songs because it also kind of gives me like anime vibes a little bit towards the end of the album. And the second to the last song is Happy. Now we had the relation. They broke up. That little siswa, like that the lady mama. That siswa, creeping through the window, and she like I can see the new girl laying in your bed. Doja, why you see the new girl laying in bed? Doja, get out them folks' window. Get out them folks' window. Last song, can you wrap it up in a bow? Can you make it all make sense? Come back. Come back makes perfect sense. She's rapping actual bars. The way she lets that motherfucking saxophone, it's the saxophone for me. It's the saxophone for me. The way she lets that saxophone just kind of ride you on out, it sounds like the end of an album. It sounds like it makes sense. I can like as the album is kind of like playing out, as the song is playing out, I can see her, I can see the confetti at the concerts and like, thank y'all, have a good night. Like it makes sense. It wraps the album up. So again, this album told me like the phases of relationship. She wants the person to come back at the end. Overall, like I said, I'm gonna give this album an A. I just wish she had at least one or two more features to really help break it up, especially if we're gonna be in this 80s world. But overall, phenomenal album. I'll say, look, you got a grave on a curve because a lot of these albums are not cohesive. A lot of these albums don't tell a story. A lot of these albums are just songs that people just throw at the wall and they just put them on an album and the order doesn't make sense. So because this actual album makes sense, I am, still putting it in a high level because, yes, we're still in this 80s world, but I think she did a really good job playing with the instruments to make it more modern and give us something different. But again, because Doja Cat pretty much did everything as far as like the singing on her album as well, and because she's not, we not expecting too much range from her with singing, she crushed it. She crushed it. Great album.